Hello. Sorry, I was setting something up. Got a little confused there. Okay. Hello, everybody. It is Chloe, and I realized that I was going through some stuff, and I realized that I do not believe that I ever put up a vlog on the runes oracle cards. And I gotta say that I haven't really seen much that gave like a really good review on this one. I mean, mostly it seemed like there was more like first impressions. And I've actually used this not a lot, but a few times now, and I've taken some time to read the book. A lot of people who are reviewing weren't really reading the book, and they were just, again, first impressioning the pictures and cardstock and things like that. So to be really quick, yes, this is pretty good cardstock. It's not very flexible, but shuffling it is super easy. It has not a super high gloss, but the gloss on it makes it nice and slippery, and it's easy to shuffle. I like that. I personally don't mind a deck that has fewer cards. This one has oh, how many does it have? Oh my goodness. I gotta say too, before I get into much further into that, I like the box that this came in. This is, I don't know about older versions. I've noticed that there's might be a few different versions of this deck out, but in this one, it says very clearly book with 24 cards. This is a multiple language book, if not deck. There's only the rune and then the word like Fahu, Urzu, Thorissa, or Thorissa, yeah, and then Anzu. I'm not great at pronouncing the runes, but I've worked with runes for a pretty long time. I'm not always the best on pronouncing things in general. I usually try to find someone who's good at it, watch it for a little bit, so when I'm talking about it. Otherwise, yeah, so I actually like these. I like the box because it has this cool string that helps you lift it out. And the book, yeah, it has like, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 or 7 languages. And I also got to say, Lascarbo's little emblem on here is so cool. It's like shiny goldish color. And they gave like really good sample pictures on the back. So, like, for those reasons, I think they did a pretty good job with this. I know some people are saying they don't necessarily like the art style, but I can show you one that I like even less. And I don't mind like a sketch look. I like a sketch look. So, yeah, this is just an emblem that you find mostly just on the box and in the book. But the back coloring otherwise is part of the deck. It's like part of the backing. All right. And I also like, these are all raised. This is, I like the texture aspect on the box. It's the same here. And Lascarbo's little business emblem here is too, and the beetle even has like texture to it. I love that. If I was someone with vision problems, it would be hard to use the deck, but at least if say I'm reading and I'm just trying to fill for things, I like that. Oh, this is that rune deck. It has the stuff on it. I could easily grab it and stay focused on the person and not have to turn and look and read everything. I like little things like that because with ADD and sensory issues, texture stuff is kind of important to me. So that's my little thing on that. I like that it tucks very well. The box is really sturdy. It's a really good way to go. And the strings, a lovely addition. Okay, so I actually, when I got this deck, I did a reading right off the bat. I was in Iceland. I didn't feel like I could tackle the tarot I got at the time of the Vikings because I needed to really get into the art. And I will be doing that video shortly too. But I actually like this. This is like, the book has only 40 pages. Like, wait, what was it? 44 pages dedicated, and it's the first set of languages in the book just for English. So yeah, if you just an English speaker, you're only going to get 40 pages, but you know what? to study the runes, you really need more than just a little book, okay? To get an idea of what they were doing with this, which they do a great presentation. It's very clear what you got here. It tells you have English, Italiano, Espanol, Francais, Dutch, Portuguese, and I am not sure what that one at the end is. I've never seen that before, but there's the other language. So there you go. If you want to know what languages it does cover, there you go. Title page. I actually really like, I don't even mind that it's in black and white. I love this picture. I think I might even copy this for personal use at home just to have it out. I think that's really well done. It's like runes and the lady who made this deck is actually a traditionalist, she says. Like, she's like, what would be the point of making an oracle deck of runes? She does a rune reading, she says, and it says, her reading says, Lagos, which means water, which has to do with our intuition and creativity. And so she's like, even before asking myself what message Lagos was trying to give me, I instinctively visualize the figure of a siren who, with her eyes closed, abandons herself to her inspiration. To see the rune, to find a visual equivalent gave me a shiver of excitement. So when she was approached to do this, she's like, I'm a traditionalist. We don't believe in like card decks, whatever. And then she does a reading to see, okay, if I agree to do this, what would be the point? Would this be valuable? Would this even work? And she gets a message using her stone runes or whatever, that yes, this would be awesome. So, I think that's really cool. I like that kind of inclusion. She also talks about Sabellas. So what she did was a cross between runes and Sabellas in the sense of using visual pictures to add layers and depth to the runes. And I like that because I have been studying runes forever and I work with them in my spiritual practice as well as the Oham, but I actually don't memorize these very well because I am more of a picture intuitive reader. I need a picture. Sometimes if I see a symbol and there's certain parts of it that remind me of something, then yeah, but these older runes don't remind me of very many everyday things that I can just pull meanings from. So no matter how many times I've tried studying the runes, I have not been able to fully memorize it. But as I've been reading the book, and I have a certain method, many people follow it, where you kind of read the book, you have the card right next to you, and you look at it as you exchange reading a sentence or a line or a meaning and go back and forth to try to get that impression in your brain. And that's how I pretty much do it. That's how I get the systems in my head. And then I let my intuition in as much as I can, the practice of the main meaning or word, key term, and main meaning to come through. So this one is, this is the few. And this one is talking about, sorry, I'm a little bit tired. I just kind of jumped into this after waking my boys up. Livestock and structure. Now, to me, I like the associations. It has the name, a number on here, but there is no number on the card. So the best thing to do is pop to the back of the book. Pop to the back. Literally, I mean, flip to the back. All of them are here, the symbol, the name, and then a number, which lets you know in what order it is in the book. So yeah, it would have been nice to have that more towards the front, but at least they included it at all. So I'm okay with that. And I like the way they did it because it's like a different color. So when you're flipping through the book, you go, oh, okay, there's like a black edge. That's probably the one I'm looking for. And it's pretty easy to find. So I like that. And back to view. All right. So, another thing that I almost forgot. After her little like intro of why and how this oracle came into being, she has like how to use the oracle rooms, and then what you'll find in the book. So general information, the rune symbol, and the ancient meaning. Then you have a keyword, the associations, and description of the image and what's happening there. runic inspiration, and then which talks about that this is the rune has to say about our current situation as well as advice on how to make the most of the oracle's energies. And then suggestions for meditation, and then talisman, magical use of the oracle characteristics that the card enhances and the areas of life that it protects and supports. This function is strengthened if you charge the card with correspondences to the qualities we are interested in with the corresponding rune. Be it of wood, stone, or crystal, see the oracle rune's talisman at the end of the book. Let us, and then it goes straight into the card meanings. Okay, so they have a very good, easy way to look at it. There's the number, which you can get from the back, and then you have the few, then the word, a meaning, livestock, that's the original meaning, and then a keyword structure. So to me, this is like home, like it says, the rune is associated with home and family and abundance, wealth, and fertility. Because back then, livestock was how they took care of themselves. They fed themselves. That was their money. It provided them with what they needed in life. Okay, so that's cool. And this talks about the house. So in this case, they're I don't think they're going in another direction, but they're emphasizing a certain area of the meaning of this rune. Okay, so livestock structure, it says associated with the home and the family, with abundance, with wealth and fertility. Image has a house that is lived in, protected by a fence in the center of the property. The house indicates hearth, where you'll find peace and protection, symbol of fertile and safe and abundant center of your life. Then it says inspiration. We live in the moment of well-being, and this makes us more confident and strong. Ideal conditions for realizing our dreams, family, and our possessions are starting point rather than end the point, and we have the stability needed to organize the future and expand our horizons. Our actions are well thought out and dictated by calm and foresight. Then it says suggestions for meditation, and this one is like the moment has come to reflect upon the center of our life. What have we achieved, and what are we missing? What is precious to us and needs to be protected? What must we do to grow further? The power of the rune few makes us strong, helps us build something long-lasting. Okay, so that was just an example right off the bat of what you'll find in the book. And I actually like it. I like some people, when they approach runes, are not sure how to work with them. And I think this is a pretty cool system for that, to get you going. Maybe not the end-all be-all, but a really good beginning. Now, this is where the confusion comes for me a little bit. Like, this is actually about livestock. And then the next card is a bull. But in this case, the bull, Urs, is now talking about power. And in this case, it says link to power, perseverance, and courage. So this is like a different kind of thing, right? Whereas the few was livestock and structure, home and prosperity and things like that. This one's talking about strength. This one's talking about courage and perseverance and power. So it says, in the moment, we are capable of understanding a lot of work and are able to handle responsibilities, and that at other times might overwhelm us. The burdens of and activities that require a great expenditure of physical strength do not scare us, and we experience them as valuable outlet, dedicating ourselves to them with generosity. The card is also linked to the male principle of virility and virility strength, which should not become destructive anger. And let me tell you, there is a card for the feminine power as well in here. And I like that. I like that they included both. This is a different area. This is physical brute strength. So again, this one does suggest livestock as per the fence that would keep in the animals. I only wish maybe they had like a group of livestock, whatever kind, be it, sheep or cows or something to emphasize that livestock thing, but the home is actually part of it. So, low livestock feeds people, all that kind of stuff. So when you were approaching this, you're going to want to think about the things and really take your time studying the guide. If you're more of an intuitive reader, you're going to miss so much stuff with this deck. I'm not saying you need to keep reading it after you kind of approached it and gotten that down, even just the keywords and meanings. Just get that and then initial thing down, and then just go with your intuitive sense. Because they even say if you can't think of the meanings, then just go off of what you're feeling in the picture. Now, this style of art is very muscly, very illustrative, very sketchy. I actually really like the details, though. And the stuff that they have included in there is really kind of cool. When you see it in person, it's a little better able to see it. But there's a lot of cool stuff in here. The snake, the guy struggling. This is Thurza. And I wanted to confirm they mentioned a god with this one. So this is, I'm not going to read the whole thing like I did parts of the other two, but I do want to give you an impression of what it's connected to. So, thorn, struggle, meaning thorn, keyword struggle and conflict. You can definitely see that. He's like tagging with the snake there. Like he's got his weapon up, which also happens to be the symbol of the Thurza. And I'm sorry if I'm slaughtering the names. I know I don't pronounce them very well, but I actually really like this one. It's Thor, god of thunder and divine warrior. Kills, this is just the image, kills the poisonous serpent, and to do so he needs all his courage. He does not fear pain or being bitten. So it's associated with struggle and dangers involved with completing a challenge. I definitely feel that energy in this picture, So battle, struggle, yes. Even if I can't remember the rune or pronounce the whatever, I can read this, right? So let's just start going through it. This one is Anzu. This is about speaking. Its meaning is mouth, and the keyword is word. Keyword is word. And he is talking, and those people are listening. It's word and language is its key associations. This one's also connected to the god Odin. There's actually 2 cards in the deck connected to Odin. I do not think they're doing the traditional necessarily meanings, although sometimes there are runes that are connected to 2 different gods. So a few 2 or a few different gods. So it's doable, and it's really focused on his mouth with the tongue sticking out. He's supposed to be, I think, in mid-speech and language. So yeah, communications I feel are a big deal with this card. Yeah, exchanging ideas, teaching, comprehension, lies, deceit, flattery, and secrets. So I would say the cards next to this card would help you know what direction this is talking about, or your intuitive feel on what words, what kind of communication is happening here. And are people actually listening or humoring someone? I would get a feel for how you feel, a sense for how you feel when you look at the different aspects of the card. So I just think there's a lot more here. People didn't the few reviews I saw on it didn't even hardly go into it. It was more like an unboxing and no really taking in depth anything. So this one, did I skip? Anzu. Okay, yeah. Next one's radio or Rado. And it's chariot, the sun, travel. And it's travel in physical as well as symbolic sense. And for me, most sun cards are kind of a yes card, a movement card. This runs true with this one as well. And again, more stuff to kind of look at here. I just think, I know the artwork is a bit sketchy-like, but I actually don't mind that because it gives an impression of movement, that actions are going on. I heard some people, this is not my style of art. I agree. The the Vikings tarot has a similar kind of sketchy art, a lot of manly muscle emphasis, which if you like manly men, then it's kind of cool. But I think it's the artist is a male. I could be wrong. It's just my impression. Okay, so can Canus is, or Kunas, sorry. I know how to pronounce this one. I just don't do it very often. Kunas is like a torchbearer or carrier. And so torch is the meaning, passion is the word. So it's like the focus of what you do with your energy, um, how you put it into motion, what you do with it, how far you can go with it, that kind of stuff. And I was just trying to see, was there a key thing that yeah, it's someone full of passion and enthusiasm. How do you apply that passion and enthusiasm? How one thing I liked in the meditation, it said, let's reflect on how strength of desire becomes part of our life and transforms it. I thought that was an interesting thing. And I like that one's lit and one isn't, because it's like, okay, this is about strength and passion, but are you having a lot of passion about it, or was it something you had passion about, but now it's kind of like not as active as it was before? Or perhaps you've already used some of your passion and strength and you only have so much energy left, or maybe you're just at the beginning of it all. There's some stuff you can play with in this visual. And in the corner is like a city. In the forefront you have the dude holding the torches. Yeah, I think that gets the message across pretty well. So passion is the key word, torch is the meaning. And then we have Gibo, which is the gift, joy, or say, yeah, the gift, gratitude. Sorry, the next one, Winjo, is joy. So this is being generous, basically. In material, it means gift in the material, emotional, and spiritual sense. Devotion and reward are two fundamental aspects of this card. We must not be afraid to make the first move and act freely without asking for anything in return. This attitude is actually a sign of inner strength. I liked that part of this one, so I thought I'd just pick one thing to point out. And this one, it literally is someone like giving you a drink, giving you something physical. So I thought that came across pretty well. Again, this one is about partnerships, unions. This is Winjo, joy, bond. So joy is the meaning, bond is the key word. Winjo is linked to union, the couple, and serenity in the family. So again, this is one of those decks that has a bit of nudity. This one's not full out though. I mean, it doesn't emphasize anything. It's just an impression of nudity. There's more detailed curvature on the men than the women in this deck, except for the mermaid, which we'll come to. I even got this impression, I'm like, oh, this looks like a couple. When I first saw this without reading everything, I was like, okay, so we have like a couple, maybe starting a family, or dealing with some stuff and supporting each other, that kind of thing. So I liked that I could get that impression pretty quick. Here is Haglaza. Haglaz? I don't know. I don't know how to pronounce this one, but it is about storm and hellstorm. Yes, hellstorm and aggression. And if you look at the details in the card, there is a wolf or wild dog attempting to attack a horse. The horse is fleeing. The weather is crazy. Yeah, there is definitely the impression there going on. So Hagalas signifies wind, bad weather, and is connected to dangerous and destructive forces in times of crisis. So hey, there you go. This would be a no card for me. This would be, ooh, you've been struggling a lot. Ooh, you feel like things are attacking you. Things like that. Okay? I think it conveys it well. Nothis. This is about time, and it shows it pretty well. I think necessity and time. How I love this, actually, the association. It says, Nothis is tied to unalterable necessity and thus with time and fate. So in this card, they're saying that We must accept our destiny. Discipline and sense of duty are our allies. Everything has its moment, and the moment of Nothis is that of waiting and reflection. Okay. Do we know how to wait and endure? That's the meditation. Could patience be our ally? There's some really good stuff here. So if I got this card in a reading, I would be like, looks like you are kind of on a certain track. The time symbol is saying that you have a certain amount of time that things are going to be unfolding, that you really can't shift the certain situation very well. You're going to have to find ways to work and deal with the path that you have on this basically straight and narrow at this point. That's one way to interpret it. I would say that they're also saying, like they said, unalterable necessity. So, something you just have to deal with, and it's going to take its own time on you. You're not going to be able to speed this up, slow it down, or anything. You just got to deal with what's happening. So, in that time, there's like a symbol on a piece of paper, maybe even. When I see paper like this, I think of maps or riddles or something like that. But this timepiece is the forefront. Okay, so this is the other one I believe that had Odin on it. It's Issa. Where did you go? Oh, next page. Where did you go? Issa is ice and intuition. And in this case, they're suggesting that the orb on Odin's staff, which is shining on a transparent stone, which could indeed be carved ice, symbolizes the purity of truth. Okay, and to me, I got the more of impression that it's like focus, listening to your intuition, inner wisdom, harnessing spiritual power in the sense of, that was one of the things it says, literally the meaning of it says, ice, something cold, cutting, yet pure, transparent, and delicate. Okay. So I really liked that. I like that because I was looking at it and there's this power emanating from the staff, but knowing that is ice, it's like you have to be very careful with this staff, sorry. And I like that they gave Odin kind of more shamanic feel in his clothing, in the atmosphere around him. This is a very different Odin to me. Like, yeah, he's a warrior. Yeah, he's strong. You can definitely see that. He's a wise old man. He's got the long beard. But I really see an almost tribal, old world aspect to him in the way he's drawn here. And I'm digging that. And let's see, what was the other part? Courage, moral strength are needed to be able to sustain the truth unwaveringly. So, yeah, cutting yet pure, transparent, and delicate. So I like that inspiration, runic inspiration here. I would even say, flow your intuition in flow with the currents that are happening around you in the moment. It's really cool. It says the power of the rune is protects us from overly harsh criticism, enhancing our critical thinking and self-image. So I think not just as a divination piece, but as a tool for working for, like I said, power of the rune, suggestions for meditation, runic inspiration, image, describing what's happening in the image. Sorry, the book is a little tightly bound, so it's a little hard to stay in one position. I almost wish that they had stuck an extra piece of, the pull card in the book as kind of like a bookmark type thing to help you stay where you're at. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Zero. I really like this. It's right away, I think harvest, I think wealth, gaining what you've earned, which is exactly what this one's about. Sorry, I'm just trying to get where I was because it kind of flipped on me. Oh, there we go. Zera is actually year and triumph. But to me, when I see a harvest like grapes and peaches and all this stuff, yeah, a year, sure. It says that Zera is tied to the seasons and with harvest time in particular. So year is the meaning, but it's like a full year and all the growth and everything that happened, and finally be able to pluck, the growth, the triumph, the ability to gain reward for what all the stuff you've worked on. So it says that it depicts an abundance of ripe fruit and ears of wheat, symbolizing times of good fortune, where we finally reap that which we've sown. And I think that, yeah, that came through very clear for me. If you're a Lenormand user, that would make sense. If you're someone who's worked with, even Tarot has some things where they're like was it 9 or 10 of Earth, that would be pretty easy to convey. It says our efforts are rewarded and our approach to life is with serenity, joy that nourishes our environment. And it goes on. So yeah, I definitely saw like harvest, reward, hard work, and being able to get that which we need. I like that. All right. Now we have Ithwaz, or I don't know how to pronounce it. There you go, folks. I like this though. So this one focuses on a tree, and actually you only see the tree that he's tied to. And it says, to me, it's like struggle and being and like struggling and end time, like very futile situation here. Having the skeleton there suggests perhaps confronting death, an ending, or is he strong enough to, fight death and go another battle? I mean, there's some stuff going on there. He's tied, bound to the tree, the yew, which is has a lot of meaning within the Norse pantheon and culture. So yew is the meaning. Keyword is obscurity, but it says here in associations that Ithwaz is linked to the Yule tree, or yew tree, Yew, which is the dramatic world, which in the dramatic world is associated with death. And I can see that there. The card depicts a skeleton tormenting a man who is tied to a pole. However, the man appears to be quite strong and perhaps will be able to free himself. So looking at this card, I see struggle. I see, that kind of dark, misty atmosphere makes me uncertain about footing and how to approach this. I mean, he's very vulnerable. He's pretty much naked. His clothing seems to have barely been hanging on his leg. His hands are bound. He's not getting a full view of his surroundings because of the position he's in. There's so much to work with in that visual there. So, yeah, I like it. Definitely not a necessarily positive card in that. And I like yes/no cards in a deck kind of thing. I'd probably go towards no or big struggle goal to get through whatever situation you are. And also that not everything is seen. This another thing is that card speaks of the yew, the earthwaz with the skeleton speaks of our dark side. All of us have one, and recognizing it is an important step in getting to the root of ourselves. I like that. All right, so this next one is Pertho, and it's about destiny and risk. If you do not take action, if you do not take the risk, you don't move forward. You don't meet your fate. Nothing happens, right? So it talks about destiny and risk. Destiny's the meaning. Keyword is risk, and it says it's associated with the inevitability, and fate. It says this man's walking along a tightrope and he may fall, but he continues forward as he cannot do otherwise. Okay, so that's what I feel is going on here. That it's also saying that this celebrates the beauty of the unexpected and highlights the fact that if one is not willing to take risks, one cannot realize one's dreams. There's more, but I think that was my impression as well. I also felt like this was kind of like, almost a hope card. Like he has all these skills. He knows what he's doing, but he knows even a slight curve of a step could totally shift what his experience is going to be in the next moment. And he is just confident in his skills and moving forward and allowing fate and whatever is happening to affect him. And the fact that he seems to be kind of up in the air, I mean, water's in the background here. You see like a setting sun going on. There's wind and cloud movement. I mean, this is like, dude, it's everything's involved here. So fate or destiny, and just being willing to keep moving despite any fears. You know, I like that. Here is Algis, I think. This font makes some of the letters, if I can focus on there. Come on. Come on. Now let me see if I can get it to focus on the card. Come on. There you go. Algis. Now this is about strength. But this time we're talking about willpower and fundamental quality for that. Willpower is a fundamental quality for confronting difficult situations. It also, the elk is an animal that for the Germanic people represented the ability to defend oneself and resist adversity. The elk was a pretty strong, dangerous animal. Oh goodness, my nose is going off. And oh good, now you kindly focused it. Oh my goodness, right? All right, so there's also the anvil here, so creating the tools you need to handle a difficult situation and your skills. So yeah, there's a lot going on there. I really like it. This talks about the man strikes the anvil with his hammer and sharpens his weapons in preparation for battle. Now, I got to say that I see the symbol, I see the anvil, I see the sky. He's in a pose where one hand's kind of behind his back and one hand forward. And I'm not sure what's up with this cloth in the background. It definitely looks like a cloth or something along those lines. Maybe even, I mean, I suppose it could be some kind of large stone. Who knows? But the biggest thing I get here is I feel that tension, that movement of somehow. Maybe he's in mid-swing, so that's why we can't see like the hammer coming from behind, coming forward. But yeah, so yeah, anvil with his hammer and the sharpens his weapons in preparation for battle. So prepping for battle, prepping for a situation, in their strength and skills, that kind of thing. In the inspiration, it says, the runic inspiration, it says, in this difficult moment, resistance is needed, and the only way to garner this quality is by continuous physical, emotional, and spiritual training. So this, to me, kind of connects with the 8 of Earth, or the 8 of Pentacles in Tarot, if you're into Tarot. And then it also says one needs to give one's all at every juncture of one's existence. Indeed, the card speaks of the value. Oh, no, sorry. I'm on the wrong freaking page. What happened there? Oh, no, I'm on the right way page. Elk, everything. Okay. It's one of those mornings, folks. Sorry. Okay, so one needs to give one's all at every juncture of one's existence. Indeed, the card speaks of the value of generosity as well. So if you were just to say, hey, anvil, this must be the blacksmith. In olden times, the blacksmith helped with so many different areas of life. He helped make metal things, right? So when we went from bone needles to metal needles, he would have been helping to create everyday things, cups, weapons, tools that help with, agriculture and what they use to deal with their animals and all this kind of stuff. So generosity to me makes sense. Skilled work. And also the blacksmith in some traditions was like, they felt was connected to the gods, because it was literally bending the materials of creation to create things to help with everyday life. So the blacksmith is very generous, important symbol that they've connected with the elk and strength, and his inner strength. It takes some muscle to do this kind of work. So yeah, I totally see that there. I see how it can convey through. I just think that the pose they put the blacksmith in is a little awkward. But aside from that, I get the meaning. It's there. I get it. I like it. I can move past a little bit of an awkward pose. If I think of him as possibly in mid-swing, kind of trying to build the momentum and strength for the next strike. So this is Sawolo. Probably slaughtering these really bad. I would love to get a video, see a available video where people just go through saying all the words. So Sawolo. Wheel is the meaning, and concentration. It's associated with charisma and driving energy. Now, this one is like this is like a triumph card as well, in a way, in the sense that this person is using, let me see, I was trying to see if they said it better. Concentration. So this person is using all their inner knowledge and skill and focus, concentration, to subdue the dragon / snake. And he's not using brute strength. He's not, he's using an inner, see this like ambient energy coming from his mental state, his mind, and even his focus, looking down and really focusing on the creature there. So this is about talking about driving energy, inner charisma. So his personality, his inner energy is helping to subdue this darker being, this snake. Okay. Huge dragon, it says here. So huge dragon. So I like the description of the image. It says a young man with a seemingly delicate movement tames a huge dragon as if by sheer force of mind. And you can see that, like I said, the emanating energy coming from the brain, the mind, and his hand gently touching or laying it upon the dragon's snout. And it says everything can be achieved as long as you use the right tools and your awareness. The card invites us to channel our forces and funnel them towards a single goal. Mind and heart must become allies, because within our union lies true power. It also symbolizes a lucky moment. And now that events are favorable, we must not rest on our laurels, but act with our concentration. So keep things moving. Yes, you've had success, but you have to keep things moving. So yeah, I think there's a lot of good stuff in this. All right. Toise. I believe this is journey. Ambition, movement. North Star is the meaning, and ambition is the key word. So it's talking about connected to our inner strength, the symbol, Toise, like the North Star guides us in the sea of existence. The card encourages us to develop an inner strength necessary to move forward in our own path. Obstacles are there to be overcome, and it goes on. Yeah, it's talking about, really working and moving forward and meeting things and not being like allowing ourselves to follow our ambition and not allowing our fears to hold us back, basically. The road to success is strenuous, yet going forward, we gain experience and charisma. We just need to avoid becoming too presumptuous. There is always something to be learned with every situation. So yeah, these guys the Vikings were like travelers, confronted all kinds of situations, dealt with whatever they faced, and were pretty huge raiders at their time. They really faced a lot of stuff. So Toise, like that. And nothing else. You could get movement. You could, power and energy and strength needed to deal with difficult situations or to move forward movement and moving, meeting new things without fear, or at least being ready to face whatever new things we might deal with. So this is Rakana, and this one has to deal with, it says swan and creativity. You can see the swan up in the corner. In this sense, creativity, this is the feminine card. As per earlier, we had a male card energy. This is the feminine one. It's talking about a woman running to meet the child, which you can see pretty clearly here. Here's the mother or a woman, and there's the child in there. And it's linked to fertility, beauty, and the ability to take care of others. So again, meaning swan, keyword creativity. These are fertility, beauty, and the ability to take care of others are all classic feminine attributes. Not to say that men can't be these things, but this is classic feminine attributes. And it is a time to celebrate creativity, tenderness, and strength that come from being receptive. There's great beauty in being at service of others. Inspiration comes only to those who know how to listen and embrace the stimuli around them without necessarily acting right away. So taking it in. Creativity, there's a lot of observing and taking in the currents and energies or beauty or emotional interactions to be sparks to our inspiration and creativity. And I think this conveys that pretty well. The swan's there. I would also say this card is about nurturing, about possibly even, mother-child relationship, the beauty of connection, those kind of things. So this was Burkana. And again, I might be pronouncing it wrong, but that's how I'm going to say it. This one is Athwaz. Now, this one has like a third eye aspect going on. It's talking about horse and action, so taking action without very little forethought. I mean, you may have some instinct about what's about to happen, and you're just going to go and see. You kind of have an instinct of how you're going to move forward. So foresight, and then it says that this is a winged horse in the corner there. And the winged horse cuts through the sky. Action and movement is the key phrases here. She's just gone for it, just jumped. She had an idea of how this would go. She's moving forward. She's allowing her instinct. And the third eye, there's like the young woman is seeing what will happen when she takes action before she does it. Stares intently at something and thinks prior to acting. So like, even if you are thinking about it, it's saying having an instinct about it and then moving forward, pretty quickly without trying to hash out all the details, just having an instinct, having a view of it, and then moving forward based off of your intuitive knowledge of what's going on. So action and movement. To be successful, you have to be very determined. Our potential is great, provided that we know how to value it by following the flow of events with courage, without remaining stationary or intimidated by the face of the new challenges that life offers us. Our key task is to find our place in the world. So I think this is a really cool card. I like the Pegasus. I like this third eye knowledge, intuitive knowledge, and thinking it through, but not taking a lot of time to think it through. Like, okay, this is how it could be. This is all right. Okay, I'm gonna go pretty quick. I actually, when I saw this card, I was like, wow, there's a lot going on there. And then I was like, oh, let's break it up into pieces, and then it makes more sense. It's like the girl on the winged horse, the third eye, and then her thoughts on it, and then the scene on which this is taking place, pretty much. All right. Finally, Manza. I'm not saying that right. Manaz, probably. Again, I'm not the best. This is humility and cooperation. So here you have a three-faced being. They have to work together in order to move forward, to take action, to do anything. This also has like all awareness. Like you have the sun, you have the moon, you have the winds, the four winds moving around. I know it's hard to get that impression, but literally this is everything around you, the earth and everything, plus the triple face, okay? So humility and cooperation. This room is connected to a sense of union that unites all humanity to the cosmos. So literally that's what's going on here. This It alludes to cooperation and reminds us that no one is an island, that we are bound by invisible threads that cannot be dissolved. The card indicates collective dreams and the joy of cooperating and having shared projects. Unity is strength, and exchange and communication are two key concepts of this card. So strength and communication. These guys, the triple faces, and even like having that omnipresent like view of everything and seeing all the connections and communicating and coming to agreement on how to take action and move forward, that's all there. I can see it. Again, another kind of scantily clad dude, but you know, I find that Norse art tends to have a lot of somewhat nudity or on the edge of nudity. Sorry, I need to move my leg. All right, so here, oh, now this is a little boobalicious, but this is Lagos or Lagos. It's water and inspiration. This is a mermaid. Her tail's right here. She's kneeling. The symbol is right on her belly, just below her breasts. Her eyes are closed. This is the mermaid that was mentioned at the beginning of the book. Her impression that gave her the, yeah, I'll make this oracle. Again, I know that a woman created this, but at least I think, let me see, Bianca Luna. The art makes me feel like a man, though. I don't know what it is. I think it was because of another illustrator in a different deck. It was a male, and he used a similar technique. Okay, so this being about inspiration is a keyword meaning water. This ties to fertile power of creativity. But when you go down a little bit further, it describes what's happening in the picture, which is really nice. And then it says, just as water is necessary for plants to grow, so imagination is necessary to give color, strength, and meaning to our lives. Romantic vision and a desire for beauty brings about an interior evolution and an increase in our power. So the suggested meditations, one of them was, are we in contact with creative energy or do to remove it as it frightens us? So yeah, this is either we really enjoy the intuitive, we embrace that kind of thing, or does it make us uncomfortable? Are we not ready for this phase, this connection here? Romantic vision and the desire for beauty bring about an interior evolution and increase in our power. This kind of change or this kind of thing can be a little unsettling. It can challenge us, but I also think it can be very empowering. So I really like this card as well. Water and inspiration. And that definitely, you got the blues. I even love the sky in the background. It's more like sunset or sunrise. And the mermaid is like kneeling on the beach. Very feminine card. Like it. Being in the moment, tuning in and getting the inspiration from that morning sun or sunset. And you could go that way as well. All right, so here is Ingus. This is, it says the meaning is entry, and the keyword is protection. Well, if you look at the symbolism here of a structured building like a fort, and they talk about, if I remember correctly, that in the picture there's supposedly these are towers on the corners, and there's supposed to be guards there. But honestly, I don't know that I see people in this freaking picture. It could be because it's such a long distance perspective, but I do get the sense of, tower guards, a structure of safety, maybe even a fort. I can get behind that. Yeah. So a fortress defended on each side by tower guards. The entrance to the building that could be a temple symbolizes our inner selves. So protection. Okay. The card has a double meaning. It representative of a safe haven in a physical sense, as well as access to a higher spiritual dimension. So as if to say that in order to embark on our spiritual journey, we must first take care of our well-being and safety. Without a solid base and a place to return to and feel protected. No action taken will end well. So yeah, I can get behind that. Entry point, protection, having things set up so we can do our spiritual work or any other kind of situation. We need safety to be able to do our work well, right? We need to know everything's being taken care of so we can take care of other things and do what we need to do and not be focused on the issue of safety or protection while we're needing to focus elsewhere. So having a good base setup, basically, a good base to keep things going while we are focused on new things or other things that we need to help that as well. Now, this one, I've seen what people are saying. This does not necessarily look like a Norse dude. Actually, even in the description, this is a sheik. This card is a Othila. And in the thing, it says Othila is meaning is nobility, and the key word is tradition. So this is actually talking about the authority of our elders, of tradition, of things that we have that have been done for a long time to help keep structure and peace and things like that. And it even describes that this is a noble sheik dressing luxuriously, studies a golden urn covered in precious stones that most likely is part of the treasure left to him by his ancestors. So this is connected to ancestors. And it says the rune's connected to wealth, but above all to what we inherit from our ancestors. So when I looked at this and they mentioned the sheik, I'm like, okay, noble sheik. The other part says that this is blood ties, however problematic or intolerable, are still important and implicate us for all of our lives. Now, this is edging on the meaning of weird, which is that our fate is set by all the things that have happened through many lifetimes along our bloodlines, that we tend to be into certain things in our life, the things that we're interested in, the things that we face due to that kind of thing. So it's dictated by the ancestors and the things that they were into. And this is also that concept of weird where you could change your direction, but also honoring the traditions of family or culture or whatever, having respect for it. But that doesn't mean you have to necessarily still go that way. But you do need to find a respectful way to deal with it, even if you disagree. It is essential to recognize their value and realize that we are the result of our past, and we must start from our roots to develop our heritage that is rich and plentiful. So blood ties, however problematic or intolerable, are still important and implicate us for all of our lives. Okay, so, and then the questions in meditation are, do we respect our ancestors and our tradition? Which ties do we find difficult to abandon, and which, on the other hand, would it be wise to rediscover or keep in place? Basically, I would add or keep in place. They just say discover. So that's why I talked a little bit about the sheik. Yes, this is not in standard card, but if you thought about the Vikings or the Norse people and how they traveled and interacted with other countries and peoples, then you might even be confronted with the Vikings having to understand other people's cultures and wanting their own culture to be understood and respected. How do you respect other people's cultures? Do you find some things ridiculous and unnecessary and shouldn't be in place? That's what this card's about. That Othello is connecting with our ancestry, maybe how we approach other people's ancestry, traditions, and cultures. So I can find a place for this within the meaning that they're giving there. All right. And finally, last, and this is so much longer than I had meant it, but I really felt nobody gave this deck a chance. They didn't really get into it. And I feel like there's a lot more here than initially things. And again, I'm still studying it. I'm still getting it out of my belt, but in the intent of a reading, in which for me, I always work intuitively and still touching on whatever structure or meaning I can remember from my studies of the deck, I think this is a valuable oracle. So, okay, last and definitely not least is Dagaz. And this is midday light and joy. It's this Dagaz is associated with the light at midday when the sun rays are at their greatest splendor. This is a boy and a girl dancing with joy in the light of the summer day. A butterfly, a symbol of beauty, flutters around them. So joyful occasion, right? It's a moment of joy and happiness, falling in love and prosperity, light and wisdom. Everything is illuminated. The truth fills our lives with bliss. Our dreams finally come true. It is time to commemorate them and celebrate together with loved ones. Everything is harmonious in the dance of life. There is no trace of aggression in our behavior. Okay, so this is a very positive, I would even say a yes card, a time of celebration, of joy, of things, truths all coming out, and everybody able to face what's happened and celebrate the good parts and everything. The butterfly is a very hopeful being there. Everything about this card is happy and joy, joy, joy. Now, there's some dark cards in this deck. This is based off the rune system. I find it pretty well balanced. I like the idea of using it in concert with another oracle or a tarot or whatever you do, but I also feel that this can very successfully read on its own, given a good layout structure. I am not big on layouts, but I have been finding increasingly that I want to use them more because with some oracles, it does help them make a bit more sense. And I feel like in this case that the rune meanings themselves and the pictures will work pretty well, even intuitively without structures, but I think it would lend to it as well. Either way, I think this is an awesome color. I love this background. It reminds me of the other deck I have. It's not showing the Borealis, but it does have this like scenic aspect to it. I like that. And there's kind of an overlay of this shape and design on it. It's kind of cool. It just gave me a reminder of this one over here. Not that it's showing the Aurora Borealis, but it's showing kind of a outdoor scene with the land, sea, and sky. For me, I love that. I love decks that kind of remind me of my triple realms, living in the earth of the everyday, and yet also of the spiritual side of the everyday. So, yeah, I wish more people would take time to actually go through this, and they're giving like a full review when they're just doing an unboxing first impressions, and they haven't really taken the time to see what's in this book. Yeah, it's only 44 pages per language of information, but if you're actually studying the runes, you'll want something more than this anyways. And for those of us who need more scenic pictures to interact with and engage in to help spark our memory of the meaning, this I think is really cool. I also have the Rune Visions deck, but it's missing one card. I'm very upset with that. I know it's around here somewhere. I just haven't been able to find it. So I needed another rune deck so I could have a complete system to work with. And I love that they didn't include the blank rune. I'm even contemplating with that other deck that I have, the Rune Visions, to use the blank rune as a replacement card and fix that up so that I can have the proper rune deck in the other deck. So, okay. Way long, but I just felt like nobody really put any effort into this deck when they. All right. Thanks. I hope you all have a great day. Bye-bye.